Hi everybody, I hope everyone is doing well. So I am going to do a reading about Shanann Watts. You probably know, and if you don't know, she was murdered on August 13th, 2018 by her husband, Chris Watts. He also murdered their two daughters, Celeste and Bella. I was pulling cards to see which reading I should do next, crime-wise, and I felt like she was coming through. What I initially got was that she knew the marriage was over, but she was trying to make it work for the kids, and also he wouldn't leave. Let her leave. He wouldn't let her leave. So I'm going to shuffle and we'll get started. The feeling I get is that there's something that she wants to say. I'm not sure what. We'll see. Bottom of the deck. 10 of Pentacles in reverse. There was no more family at that point of the murders. Also, that card makes me feel like financial difficulties. 6 of Cups in reverse. 10 of Pentacles in reverse. This wasn't... I think there was like speculation that he didn't want more kids. I think I read that he tried to give her Oxycontin secretly. But those cards make me feel like it wasn't that. It wasn't... The murders was not about the kids. Yeah. Ace of Cups. He was having an affair. We know this. These cards also make me feel like he no longer loved her. Yeah. 9 of Cups. Ace of Cups in reverse. He wanted to start a new life. He wanted to be single. Yeah, but he didn't know how to... 7 of Wands, Ace of Cups in reverse. But he didn't know how to walk away. There's something going on here about his emotions. There's like an attachment disorder. It's like he wanted to walk away, but not experience the emotions that go along with doing so. Does that make sense? It's like he wanted to walk away and not feel the pain. So in his warped thinking, killing them was easier than having to have them continue to exist in the world and seeing them and having to deal with the fact that he was separated. Emperor in reverse. 7 of Wands in reverse. I feel like he did not know how to properly be a father. And he also didn't want to have to walk away from being a father, because then he knew that Shanann was going to have custody. So the conclusion, I guess, is that killing is better. Which honestly never makes sense to me. Every time I hear about these stories where the spouse kills their spouse, I always think, what is wrong with just getting a divorce? Like, Page of Pentacles. To me, this is like the disclosure of the divorce, of the affair. The Sun and the Four of Cups. To me, it's like the realization that I don't love you anymore. And I think that comes on both sides of the fence. I just heard, but Shanann had hope. The realization that this is ending. Page of Pentacles and the Sun card. These cards make me feel like she did not think that he was capable of killing her. Like, she did not realize like how far he was willing to go. The feeling that I get is like he was never really abusive. Like, they would argue, but he would never like lay a hand on her. So murdering her was never even, she never even considered that to be a possibility. I just heard, this is going to sound really strange, but I just heard I was wired. I was wired? The only thing I can think of that would make sense would be the drug company that she was working for and the meds they were taking. I think what she's trying to tell me is that her judgment was impaired at that time. Like, she wasn't making the greatest of decisions. Yeah, like Queen of Pentacles, Four of Pentacles. She was willing to let go. She was willing to walk away. She was willing to give him what he wanted. If he wanted to go be with that woman, she would have said, okay. The Moon, this makes me feel like Queen of Pentacles, that she had money stashed. I feel like that she had money stashed away in the event that he or their marriage broke up. This also makes me feel like there's things about her life that we really don't know. Justice and the Moon. I feel like there was these cards is not only just like how the case played out in the media, it's also the feeling I get is like there was no easy answer to the problems that were going on in their relationship. The idea or the thought of moving on was so difficult for the both of them and complex that walking away was never going to be an easy thing. Judgment and Justice in reverse again. It's like, yeah, like there was no easy walking away. It's almost like this is gonna sound very strange, but it's almost like one of them would have had to have died because they could not separate. It's like obsession. It's like a bond that would not be broken. And I think not only, like, they both viewed their connection that way, and I think that's why he killed them. Because being away from them was too painful, even though he wanted to, which makes no sense really. But that's how, like, almost toxic their relationship was. He felt like the only way that he could actually move on and be pain-free was to kill them. Page of Swords. Yeah. I think she told him that she was leaving. There was like a confrontation. It's kind of like, I know what you're doing. There's definitely a confrontation. I'm not happy. This family is over. I no longer love you. This murder happened after a confrontation. Because of a change in behavior. Which I believe is a change in Chris's behavior. Yeah, she loved him for sure. Like, she was madly and deeply in love with him. She would have done anything for him. But there was parts of the relationship that were lacking, particularly money-wise. This card makes me feel like they might have been losing their house. Or they were struggling to pay their mortgage. And worrying about being put out on the street. There's something about the house and money. Two of Swords. It's such a difficult place to be in when you love someone, but you know there's issues. Yes, it puts you in a tight spot because, again, like, not knowing what to do. And that was the place that Shanann was in. I love you, but this is not working. What do I do? That's how she was feeling leading up to the murder. Plus, she had him acting differently. This card makes me feel, I just heard stubborn and strong. It's like, the feeling I get is that she was not one to hide her feelings. So this confrontation was going to happen. She noticed the difference. She was definitely going to confront him. Like, this confrontation was, I feel like, fated. It was going to happen. Yeah, Chariot. She loved him, but she was going to leave. And that's that stubborn, headstrong nature that I feel. That is that led to the confrontation. Sorry if you can hear my stomach growling. Four of Cups. This feeling that I get is like we've spoken about money so many times and you won't do anything about it. There's definitely financial issues. And someone in the relationship wouldn't budge. I feel like there might have been overspending. Yeah, and there's also an issue here with trying to repair the relationship, but it wasn't working. I feel like the day of the murder, Shanann was done. She loved him, but she was leaving because there was no fixing. There was no efforts put forth to fix. Nothing was changing. So, in the moment of the murder, she was absolutely and completely 100% done with him and leaving. The Emperor. This makes me feel like a couple things. One, she was taking charge of the situation. And two, I feel like either it's her father or a father figure knew she was leaving, that she had enough and was done. But really, I feel like in the moment she was taking charge of the situation and she was telling him she was leaving for good. I just heard Annie snapped. Six of Wands. So this makes me feel like I'm tired of this. I'm tired of feeling like a loser. when I'm a winner. I think that's the attitude she had. It's like, I'm not used to this prolonged being down, being in the gutter, not going anywhere. I just heard, I need to succeed. Yeah, I literally heard, I am tired of feeling like a loser. And that's how she felt in the marriage, that she was losing. And she wanted to feel better. Excuse me if I can hear my stomach growling. Yeah. Queen of Wands. Shanann was done. Totally. She felt like the marriage had run its course. King of Swords. This card just made me feel like Chris Watts thought he could do whatever, whenever. Because Shanann loved him. And because he was the father of those kids. So he could just run amok. That's what he thought. That she'd just take it and everything would be great. Or he could just do whatever he wanted. But the day of the murder, she was putting her foot down and telling him no. Six of Cups. Her decision was mainly about the kids. She was leaving for the sake of the kids. And there was a part of her that wanted to go back to the way that she used to be, which was successful. She was tired of feeling not good enough. I think the feeling I get is that she told him all of this. She tried, it's not working, I'm leaving. But ultimately she was doing it for the sake of the kids. She was wanting to put their best interest at heart. And it's not like she was just giving up willy-nilly. Like, she had tried. And she didn't want her kids to think that the way that they were was normal. She didn't want the kids to see them fighting all the time and then like history repeating itself. Five of Swords. Yeah, at that moment, she did not care. Her mind was made up. She was leaving. Is this about the affair? I don't even think this was... The feeling I get is like this is not even about the affair. I just heard he changed and like became a person that she did not recognize. And that's why she was leaving. I feel like this has nothing to do with an affair. Like her leaving had nothing to do with the affair. It was about his personality change. The things he was doing. The feeling I get is like he had become like abusive I just heard verbally. And she didn't want her kids, again, to think that being verbally abused was acceptable. Yeah. 9 of Wands. 7 of Pentacles. Yeah, like Shanann gave this a lot of thought. Fool. I just purchased an overhead camera, so the camera will be looking down at the table so you can see all these cards, which I think will be better than viewing it from this angle. Anyhow, yeah, she was leaving. And I just heard, and she wasn't taking no for an answer. Like she was leaving no regardless what he had to say. The Devil. Again, Chris Watts thought that Shanann Watts would take any old treatment. I read that he secretly gave her OxyContin. Did she know that? I just heard suspected. There's something about being controlling. Like, I think there was like an element that at times he could be controlling. I know that I remember the media trying to say that she was the controlling one, but I don't think that's the case. I think that he had control of because of how much she loved him. The feeling I get is like maybe she was a bit bossy, but he was in control because of how much she was in love with him. And also, he had control because he was the father of those kids, and she was just madly in love with those kids. So, he knew that. So when she flipped the script on him and told him that she was leaving, he freaked. So basically he thought he could just cheat and that'd be fine. He could do whatever and that would be fine. Because he thought she was in the palm of his hand. Yeah, Hermit. She decided she was gonna leave. And I also think that she had a lot of irons in the fire, so she felt like she would be fine financially if she left. The feeling that I get is that she was already starting to go. And the feeling I also get when I heard I was wired was that she waited too long. Like, she stayed longer than she should have, and she knows that because something with meds or medications. Which makes me feel like uppers of some sort. Yeah. Temperance. Yeah, she was leaving and she was totally fine about it. Moral of the story, or conclusion, I should say, of the story. There was a confrontation. Shanann reached the end of her rope. She had already given it a lot of thought. But ultimately, she had decided to leave because the kids were being negatively affected. She had money stashed, or was starting to put money into place to leave. She felt anyways that she was going to be fine financially to do so. And she didn't care what anyone said. The marriage was done and she was leaving. There's something, this makes me feel like she already trialed it. She already separated herself a bit from him and felt fine doing so. Like, she knew that if she left, she would be totally fine. But Chris was like not having that. And there's something about him knowing she was serious. And he snapped. He couldn't, because he has some kind of like attachment disorder. But I'm going to end it here. Please leave your comments. I love to read them. And I love your input. And have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.